Welcome back, guys, to another exciting episode of the Be Different podcast. I'm your host, Nekesa Esther, and it's interesting how I have been meeting several people who engage with our content, but now the subscriptions are not reflecting the number of, good vibe, the number of responses, the number of engagement, the number of feedback that we actually receive. So guys, take a moment to subscribe before watching this exciting episode. And before I welcome my drum rolls, please, my guests of the day. Welcome, Anita.
Thank
please
you so much.
Tell us more about yourself and then we'll dive in.
Okay, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Anita Makori. I am 24 years old. I'm a health data scientist at it's a very long name, the Center for Epidemiological Modeling and Analysis. In short, we just say SEMA. It's at the University of Nairobi. And in the next 5 weeks, I'll be starting my master's in international health and tropical medicine at the University of Oxford.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I'm happy to be here. And I'm also on the side, I'm also a mentor. So I mentor girls to pursue what I call non-traditional careers for women.
Wow.
And I am also a content creator for fun, though.
We all are.
That's me in a nutshell. Yes.
Oh, wow, Anita, you're a mentor. Okay, first and foremost, health data scientists. Do you know how many of you there are in Kenya?
I honestly don't know how many there is of us. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course that's the reason why Anita is here on the Be Different podcast today. You know, guys, we bring you exceptional guests to tell us more about what they do. And you've heard Anita is a mentor even before I started asking the questions. So that's interesting. You'll tell us. So first, how did you get into the, health data scientist field?
Okay, so I did my undergraduate. I did a Bachelor of Science in Epidemiology and Biostatistics.
Wait a minute. So you saw it on the list, you chose it?
Yes.
When you were in high school?
After high school, yes.
After high school?
Yes.
Did you know what it was about?
At the time I chose it, yes. But before, like when I was younger, I did not know about it yet. I always knew I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Like a medical doctor. And then growing up, I realized that I was not good with the harsh realities of being a doctor. Like, for example, I can't stand the sight of sick people, like in the sight of blood and other things that go on in the hospital. So, but I was always passionate about health and just helping people not to be sick. So then after high school, I realized that health is very multifaceted. There are so many aspects to health other than being a frontline healthcare worker. So then I started researching about fields I could get into in the health sector. So I realized about epidemiology, which is just the study of diseases to control and prevent them. So essentially you're tackling health problems on the background.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, BTS.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
so
how I got into that.
You actually signed up for the course?
Yes.
Here in Kenya?
Yes, so at the time I was applying for it, it was only offered in one local university. That's Masinde Muliro University in Kakamega. So when I was filling in my courses, from my first choice to my fourth choice, it was the same course, choice 1, 2, 3, and 4. In case they did not realize that I wanted to do it. So all my 4 choices were that course at Masinde Muliro, and that's how I went there in 2016, then graduated in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey into actually now being the fully fledged data scientist, because right now the talk of town, actually even today morning, there was some talk that, how does your degree help you? Are you working in the field that you studied for? And there was that actually on a national radio channel. And I listened, but I didn't give it much thought. But now that you're here, you can actually tell us. So how did you end up, practicing?
Okay. So I mentioned that I graduated in 2020. So around March 2020 when COVID-19 was declared a pandemic in the world, and then in Kenya we had the first case, and then schools were closed down. I was in my final year of university, so we had to complete our final year at home. So while I was at home and doing my final year project, I used to go online and read about, because I could research what is being done in terms of COVID-19 in Kenya, and also generally the health research scene in Kenya. And then my sister came across one of the professors who was working on the COVID-19 task force in Kenya. He's called Professor Thumbi Mwangi. He's my current boss. And we found his email online, and I wrote to him. So I wrote to him explaining who I am, what I am studying, and I am soon to graduate, and that I read about his research that he's doing in zoonotic diseases, infectious diseases, and I would like to learn from him. So I only just wanted mentorship from him because I had done a fairly new course in the country, and I didn't know much of what I'm supposed to do in the future. And then he did not reply, but I kept writing. I wrote like 4 times before he replied. And so when he replied, he asked me to come to their offices in the University of Nairobi and talk to them and see the work they're doing. So I went to the office knowing that I'm just going to have a conversation and just get mentorship on what are the next steps I could take. And then, so I got to the office, he introduced himself, his colleagues, and then we had a conversation about the projects they're doing, the COVID-19 work they're advising the government on. And then he asked me what I want. So I told him about my research interests. I told him what I had studied. I was so naive. I told him what I had studied.
Why are you calling yourself naive? We'll come back to that.
And what I hoped to change in the world, the change I hoped to create, and how I hoped to apply my skills in this field. And so he asked me now how I think I could fit in the work he's doing. And I asked for an internship. And I remember a question he asked me was, why are you asking for an internship and not a job?
Wow.
And my answer was very straightforward. I just told him, because I want to learn. Because, you know, when you ask for a job, you're already expected to know what you're supposed to do. But when you ask for an internship, you have the grace to learn. So I said, I want an internship so that I can learn from you. And then once I learn, I can now progress to do a job. So that's how I got my internship. And then I progressed after the internship to a research assistant and now into data science, what I'm doing now.
Wow. So you did finish your research project while at SEMA?
No. So by the time he replied to my message, because I had been emailing for a while, I was now done with my studies.
I like the resilience. And isn't there anywhere else in Kenya you desire to go? You had seen their work?
Yeah, so while we were in school, of course we read about work being done at KEMRI, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, at Africa CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So I had started also reaching out to people in those areas, but I did not get any response from them. So I did not only reach out to him, I just mentioned him because he's the one who got back, but I reached out to several people from those areas as well. So any area that I thought was doing health research. Yeah.
And I can imagine that. So how many years has it been?
Since
2020, like you worked there for the 3 years?
So since the beginning of 2021. So I graduated in December 2020, then beginning of 2021 until now I've been with him.
And are you satisfied with the lessons?
Most definitely, yes. Yeah, I've really grown in terms of my skill, in terms of knowledge, in terms of exposure, in terms of networks. I've really grown, and I believe that the experiences I've had in health research that I've done have informed my applications to graduate school. And for that reason, I'm grateful that I had that experience.
Yeah, and you said in 5 weeks you're leaving for University of Oxford.
Yes.
How is that? How take us through the application process, and how is it that okay, this could be a personal question, but are you leaving money behind to go and do that? Some people would actually consider.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, of course, like I'm leaving a well-paying job to go and become a full student because I'll not be working on the side. But for me, the reward will be better in the end. Like it's a small sacrifice for a better reward in that regard. But yeah, so the application process actually started the same time in 2020. So as I was reaching out to professors in the research field, I was also trying my luck in grad school applications because I always knew I wanted to do my master's and PhD abroad.
Okay.
So I started my applications in 2020, but in 2020 they did not, none of them went through. I was rejected for the ones that I did. And then in 2021 again, I applied, and this time I got into 2 schools. Okay. That's the University of Glasgow and the University of Oxford, both in the UK, but I did not secure funding for them, and I could not afford to fund myself. So I had to let go of those offers and apply again the third time in 2022 now. Okay. So then I applied to 3 schools now, to the University of Oxford, the University of Cambridge, and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, which I was accepted to all 3 schools. And then I applied to 9 scholarships, and I got accepted to 4 scholarships. Oh, nice. So now I had 3 schools, 4 scholarships. Wow. It was up to me to choose where I want to go and with what money.
Yes.
Yeah, so now I chose Oxford with the MasterCard Foundation AFOX scholarship.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you comment on whether someone at home could be watching and just thinking, this chick is just privileged?
Wow.
What are the privileges, if you've had any, that you can comment on? And before we go on to the, the attitude behind the constant applying over and over and over.
Okay. There's a book I'm currently reading. I've actually read it for long though. It's called Outliers.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Outliers, the story of success. And it just shows the way the people who we call successful in society, there were small factors that came into play, like pieces of a puzzle that contributed to who they are today. So I would not say I'm an exception. I agree that there were certain things in my life that contributed to where I am today, and without which I don't know if I could be where I am today. And the first that I would mention is my family, my support from my family, because the dream to go study abroad was actually, the seed was planted by my father, because he had studied abroad and worked abroad and then came back. So when he came back, he always preached this gospel of just try and go and advance your studies abroad, get perspectives abroad, and then just get more knowledge and skills and go see what is being done out there, because it will open your mind up to other possibilities. So there was that seed that was planted in me. So even as I did my high school and my undergrad, I knew that one day I want to do my studies abroad at some point. So that seed was planted early on. And then also there was the constant support from my mentors. I have really good mentors.
Nice.
Yeah, like there's my sister, and then there's my sister's friend. So my sister introduced me to her friend, and they've all been very instrumental. And then thirdly now is my work environment. The people I've been exposed to at SEMA and the SEMA networks, I call them. So starting with Professor Thumbi himself, and then my work mentor, and then there's the different people I've been able to meet through my work, because you find that you have meetings with people, you have collaborative projects, then you get to talk to people about their work and their studies, and it opens your mind to their possibilities. So there's also that aspect. And then also the support I get from my work, because even my applications, there were aspects of my applications that were supported by my current boss. Because, for example, applications can be very pricey, because you pay application fees, there's tests to be done, and all these require money. But I was privileged enough to get support from my boss in that regard. So yeah, I would say that there are aspects in my life that contributed to my success, but that's not all there is to it.
Aside from that, I'm imagining you seated there going through 1, 2, 3, 4 applications, and year after year, and giving up a whole opportunity offer. Wow, I like that resilience. Can I call it resilience?
Yeah, I think so.
Nowadays, people have a negative connotation to some words.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Strong woman.
I know. Anyway, so Anita, tell me, kindly comment shortly about mentorship and mentoring. In your introduction, you mentioned you're a mentor to young girls. You'll tell us how that started. But before that, how did you come about calling your sister a mentor?
Okay. So at first, I did not even realize she was mentoring me. Because it started when I was in high school, and then now later it became more conspicuous when I was in campus, because now I had decided on a career path. So she's on a slightly different tangent. She's in economics, but she understood what I was studying more than anyone else around me. So she would expose me to opportunities, like for example, conferences, professional bodies that I could become a student member of, and then articles she would see online, or even opportunities, future opportunities she could see in what I could do. And even as I mentioned about Professor Thumbi, she's the one who told me about him, and then I looked him up. So in that regard, at some point I realized that most of what I know away from class, outside class, is because of what she has exposed me to. Yes. And even in my grad school applications, she's a constant factor. She always goes through my essays, does mock interviews with me, advises me on, directs me on what I can look out for. So in that regard, I would say she's my mentor in very many ways. Yes. That's and nice. Then as I mentioned, I have other mentors. There's a mentor at work, Dr. Nyamai. So she's the one who has taught me the ropes of data science, because when I came in I was very green, and she was a data scientist already. So she showed me the ropes of this work. Like, she introduced me from the ground, and she was really patient, because I had no clue what I was supposed to do, but she's the one who made me become as good as I am. So in that regard, I would say mentorship is very powerful, because it exposes someone to it opens someone's mind to things they could not imagine are possible. Like, for example, I knew I was good, but I did not think I was Oxford material at first. But my sister made me believe I am Oxford material, and here I am going there.
She urged you on, apply.
Yes, because I knew I wanted to do my master's abroad, but not Oxford. But you see, because of having a good mentor, she made me believe in myself to the extent that I was able to put myself out there. So that is the power of a mentor, I would say. And that's why I usually say that I give back. My kind of mentorship is giving back, because as a product of good mentorship, I want to give it back. And that is why I try and mentor other ones who are coming after me, to see that they can become even more than what I am now.
And how now are you going about that?
So there are several ways I'm doing it. Some conventional, some not. So the conventional ways are through the mentorship organizations. Like, there's one called the Global Give Back Circle, of which I am a part of. So the Global Give Back Circle tries to empower at-risk girls, so girls who come from communities that are normally put them in a disadvantaged position, to dream more and empower them to know that they can actually achieve more than what their environment limits them to. So we take both high school and campus girls, then you walk the journey with them. So you're assigned a girl, and then you walk the journey with them. So if they're in school, you can write letters, you can communicate through their teachers. And then the unconventional ways, and I'm saying unconventional because it's new, is through social media. So I use my platforms, that's LinkedIn and YouTube, and I'm also starting a blog. So where I try and pass my experiences that people can relate to, and also talk to other people whose experiences people can relate to, just so that someone can know if someone else did it, they can also do it.
That's very powerful. So far, do you have a rough idea of how many students' hands you've held and how many you've worked with, either through the global, you called it Global
Give Back Circle? So I would say through the 2 years, I've been doing it for 2 years now. I think I would say 10. A rough number would be 10. And some of them, I find out after they come tell me that because of you, I was actually able to do this. So sometimes it's not even active mentorship. You just find someone consumes what I post, and then they are able to, like, there was someone who has been watching my YouTube channel, and then they applied for school and got in, and they told me that before they saw my story, they never thought they would be able to advance their studies that way. So then they reached out to me and told me that just keep doing what you're doing. You never know who you're inspiring. You never know who you're mentoring. So there are some that I don't even know that I'm mentoring, but I am.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy listening to this story. I'm almost jumping out of my seat. You'll tell us, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
Just my name, Anita Makori.
Anita Makori, guys.
Yes.
Please make sure you watch. So tell us about whether you've thought about tomorrow. So now you go to Oxford. How many years are you going to study?
Just 12 months. The
12
master's
months.
is just 12 months.
Are you planning to, you know, work there or to come back home?
So I would say my short-term plan is to also do my PhD because my long-term plan is to get into research and specifically infectious disease research.
Okay.
And my boss usually says that a PhD is a driving license for research. So I would like to get my driving license first, just so I can become a reputable expert in the field, and I'll be able to conduct research that will hopefully help to reduce the burden of infectious diseases in Kenya and the wider sub-Saharan Africa, where it's the highest burden.
Wow, Anita, your age mates are out here partying.
I also party.
You do? That's what I was going to ask you
Okay.
next. So how about your social life? What are you doing? Do you have it complete in full? Do you have your friends? Do you keep your networks and all that?
Yeah, so outside of all this,
Yes.
I enjoy having fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy dancing, listening to music, going out with my friends. And that's what I do, and traveling. So that's what I do. I dance. I dance Afro-Latin dances.
Wow.
And I also travel and just, I also enjoy, I say creating content for fun because I enjoy just creating videos, editing and posting on TikTok. So and Instagram. So that's what I do for fun. And then also watch movies on low days, watch movies in the house and just hang out with my family.
So you have a complete life aside from all these achievements. Wow.
Yes.
If I'd be a 24-year-old, I would be so challenged. I don't want to say I'm challenged. I don't want to admit it that I'm so challenged right now, but I'm so happy for you.
Thank
you. Do you
you.
have a parting shot?
Yes. My parting shot would be, I have several.
Yeah. Okay. Go
because
ahead.
they are on several different planes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first one is persistence is very important because sometimes, and I've realized this with mostly my generation, Gen Z and all that, but I've realized that we are really into instant gratification. Like we want something, we want it now. But sometimes it does not work that way. Life does not work that way. So it means that you have to go at something several times for it to work out. And I've seen this in several aspects, like getting my first internship, getting my scholarship to go to school and other aspects. So persistence is very important. And then my second parting shot would be rejection is redirection. I know at some point people are like, you always say this because I say it a lot, but it's true because just because you've been rejected in one thing, just try and look at the bigger picture because it might be that you're being prepared for something else entirely. And there are some things that were supposed to happen before you get something. So sometimes rejection is just redirecting you to something else that is sometimes better than what you thought you wanted. And then the third thing would be to encourage people to pursue their dreams relentlessly. And it's not to say that you'll not get discouraged, because I also had my naysayers who are now yesayers.
I can imagine.
So just pursue your dreams as long as you know where you want to go and why you want to go. Just pursue your dreams very relentlessly because you're your number one fan. You should always believe in yourself. Yes.
Wow. I am encouraged, guys. I hope you are too. Please, let's all run to Anita Makori's YouTube channel and watch more of that if that is what she posts. I mean, you have to watch more of that. I can't wait to watch you dancing. I also love dancing. We should do a TikTok.
Yeah, we should. We should.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Kindly like, comment, share, and tell us what you think about that powerful story. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.